Hi Mark, great as always to meet up with you at the range. Hope you enjoyed your experience in the new teaching studio. It was certainly a great session, some real good progress, and in doing this recap I don't really know whether I'm doing this for your benefit or the benefit of about 100 teaching pros in the United States at this stage, judging by the response on Facebook that your comparisons have had. Really good session, and we talked a lot about what we're doing in regards to extension. What we're seeing here on the top left and top centre is still a player amidst really good backswing, but there's a lot of flex maintained, right knee, left knee, pelvis, etc. on the way through, and that can be seen in particular when we look at it from down the line. Right knee over flexing, pelvis staying in its forward tilt for too long, shaft steepening in the downswing excessively, left arm being pulled out in front, and then at P6 club well out in front of the hands, and then it's a really just a vain attempt to try and prevent the club coming too much across the ball on the way through. So the first thing we did was we got you on the since deceased impact bag, and we talked about how extension is not just in the thoracic, but it's also in the knees, or the ankles, the knees, and more importantly for you, the pelvis. You can see there, straight away we got you on the impact bag, the hips tucked sooner. As the hips tucked, the club came more from the inside. So we've shifted the plane to the right by extending the hips, extending the pelvis. Now at this stage, because we're just hitting the impact bag and we're trying to learn what it's like to extend, we're coming off the wall ever so slightly. So there's a loss of your inclination as you come in. And we talked about how to offset that you'd have to now introduce a little bit of hip slide. So we're going to get you extending the pelvis first, which is what we're doing here. As opposed to flexing forward for too long, which is what we see here. And what we did then is we started to isolate the feels and the positions, if you will, the key aspects of your downswing. And what we talked about was part one, from P7 to P9, we've got to fully extend the thoracic and the pelvis. So we're tucking the hips, that's the tucking the hips piece that we talk about. Then we're going to max out the hip slide, which going through the ball is going to help us maintain our inclination to the ground, keep our head on the wall, and then we're going to turn to face the target. You can see there we've got a much more tucked looking finish than we're used to seeing, and a much more tucked looking finish than what we're seeing here on the top left. In hitting the golf ball towards the end of your session, we now get a nice blend between the two. We get back into flexion by P5 with the pelvis, back into flexion by P6 with the thoracic. The hips have already started to extend. Much better move through the golf ball, much less flexing forward. You can see the extension is kicking in by the height of the right heel. Now ideally we want the right heel to be kept down for longer, but as we learn to slide the hips more, so as we max out this piece, more linear, we're going to start to see that right foot banking in. The footwork that we see here on the top centre screen is a little bit of a cheat really. It's brought around by flexing forward, not extending enough, and therefore no needing to slide the hips sufficiently. Big difference however is at P6. No cuts in that guy. And we know what shape that guy hits. Great work, great session. Look forward to charting the progress over the coming months. Well done.